Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Monday, July 13th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr, and today I'm joined by Bill Greene. He's one of the lead recruiting analysts for Buckeye Scoop. Bill, Mark Givler, and Mick Walker just spent a full day watching and evaluating some of the top talent in the region at Saturday's Elite Underclassmen Camp just outside Columbus. And Bill, I would imagine after the last few months, it was great just to be out in the sunshine and covering some actual football stuff going on.
Yeah, it was a blast. It really was. The camp kind of ran over time limit to what they really planned, and we didn't care. We were having so much fun, and there really was Tom. It was the first national camp for Buckeye Scoop, and to be out there with Mick and Mark Givler, it was really a thrill for me, and I hope it was for those guys too, because we had never been together, as a team before. I've covered, my God, so many of these things I can't remember over the years, but it was so much fun, to be out there with our gear on. We were Buckeye Scoop. The organizers of the camp knew who we were, and they've been following the site. The kids knew, the parents knew, the coaches knew, and it was great to be so well received as Buckeye Scoop.
That's awesome. One of the biggest names there on Saturday was Shaun Murphy. That's a name that he's not an Ohio kid, so that may be some people don't recognize that name. He's a linebacker in the class of 22 who is rated as one of the top five players overall in the class by some sources. He goes to high school in Virginia, but does have ties to Ohio. What did you see out of Murphy on Saturday?
Well, this was a camp that strictly emphasized athletic ability. There was no semblance of football being played here. This was more a track event. When people criticize the underwear Olympics, this is what they were talking about, this type of camp. There were no one-on-ones. So it was set up for Shaun Murphy to not look the greatest. Okay, Shaun Murphy is a come forward and knock your eyeballs out kind of linebacker. He's not a tester. He's not a high-flying dunker. It's just not him. So this was set up for him to not look great. And I'll be honest with you, he didn't look great. He didn't run well. I don't know that he's in shape, and that's the thing we're worried about right now coming out of the quarantine phase. I don't know what he's done the past couple months. His film is really, really good, okay? What I saw Saturday was not really good. If I didn't know that it was Shaun Murphy, five-star kid, and someone would have said, what do you think of number 46 over there? I would have said, he looks okay. He's a big kid, didn't run real well, looked a little heavy-legged. So, but again, this camp was not set up for Shaun Murphy. And, I'd place more emphasis on the film we see from last year. He's still 16 years old. He's got 2 more years of high school football to play, so I wouldn't panic. But I can't sit here and say I was blown away by him either.
Now, Mark Givler tweeted a photo of Murphy wearing Ohio State gloves at one point, and, you never want to read too much into something like that. But do you have any sense where the Buckeyes stand in his recruitment right now, or if he even has a list where they might stand on that list?
Yeah, I think Ohio State's clearly in the mix. He has a nice friendship going with CJ Hicks. And I think there's such a long way to go for that kid. I don't think he's anywhere near ready to make any kind of decision. So we'll see. But they're clearly in the mix, for Shaun Murphy. No doubt about that.
Now, there were several other Ohio State commits there. Jyaire Brown, Tegra Tshabola was there. But it sounded from everything you wrote on the Ask the Insiders board and our conversation beforehand, like CJ Hicks really kind of jumped out to you on Saturday. He's a name we've heard obviously a few times, but what made CJ Hicks kind of jump out to you out of all the guys who were there?
Well, this is an event that is set up for CJ Hicks. This is a dunk contest in basketball, and you would take, a Michael Jordan in this thing, and he better look good, and he will look good, and Larry Bird won't. Does that mean Larry Bird, no chance for him to play basketball? No, doesn't. So this was set up for CJ, and he did not disappoint. He measured in at 6'4", 220, and he ran a sub 4.6 40, and everything he did was wow. And change of direction, the speed, the length, the ball skills are really good. So this thing was, CJ was the prettiest girl to dance by far. The Under Armour people that were there who go to these things every week all across the country, it takes a lot for them to be wowed. And they were wowed, by CJ Hicks. I mean, he has everything he needs to be a superstar in football. All the talent, all the raw skills that he needs. And he's been good. He's been really good. And, what we're hoping to see this year is that leap that he should take on the field. But in terms of raw skill, I've covered Under Armour games, U.S. Army games. I've seen the best of the best. Nobody has the raw skills CJ Hicks has. I mean, he can stand up with anybody in that regard.
From everything you guys have said, it sounds like he's a very personable kid and gets along with everyone. And, if he's the kind of guy who jumps out at camps, that could make him a pretty big tool for them in terms of maybe attracting some other talent then, right?
He's trying. He's doing his best. He's really into the recruiting stuff. He loves it. Jack Sawyer and Ben Chrisman, they're kind of goading him that you're never going to be able to put together a class like we're putting together. And, CJ's going to take that personal. And he's such a great kid. He's just a fun kid to be around. He's serious when he needs to be serious, and he's really funny when it's time to be funny. And that's a great combination to have, Tom.
Now, you mentioned Jack Sawyer a couple of times. He is obviously, I would assume, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know who he is. 5-star defensive end from Pickerington, class of 2021, kind of the next guy in the assembly line of Larry Johnson 5-star defensive ends. He will join that officially in next spring. But he said he did not do a lot on the field. He was kind of just standing and watching more. But you got to talk to him a little bit. What's the latest with Jack Sawyer?
We did. I mean, and he's been working out like a madman, and he just continues to look the part. And he's excited this year because, he had to play quarterback last year, and I don't think he liked it, but he did what he had to do for his team. This year, they're set at the quarterback spot. He's going back on defense, and that's what he wants to do. So, I really look for him to take a huge leap on the field this year. I mean, I saw Joey Bosa as a sophomore in high school. I saw Nick as a junior in high school. This guy's cut from that family. There is no doubt in my mind. I mean, he's actually taller than Nick and, a little quicker maybe than Joey. So he fits as a Bosa. So that's what we expect out of Jack. You almost think he's 25 years old because he's been around for so long now, and, we're praying we have football this year in Ohio. And, if we have football and we get Jack back on defense only as a pass rusher and a run stopper, it's going to be so much fun to watch him and just to see the progress he's made in the past year.
We've mentioned a lot of current Ohio State commits in this conversation. Give our listeners a couple other names to know, maybe from guys you saw on Saturday, maybe guys who either aren't committed to OSU, guys who may not have an offer yet, but impressed you on Saturday at that camp.
Yeah, when you talk to me, all you're going to hear about from me is the O-line. I mean, I'm just a stickler for offensive line play. I've never seen a great team with a subpar offensive line. I've seen teams win with subpar quarterbacks. Craig Krenzel's not an all-time great. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody wins with a weak offensive line. So Tegra Tshabola was there. This was, like you say, this was an athletic camp, and that's not Tegra. I mean, he's a guy that just murders people. He knocks them off the ball. He knocks them on their butt, wears them down over the course of 2 hours to where they don't want to compete anymore. Well, this wasn't that kind of camp. But even saying that, he was really good. His footwork was good. He came off the ball better than I remember him last year. The body continues to look better. He was overweight last year. He's down in the, I would guess, 320, 325 range right now. And he was super impressive. It would be like seeing Larry Bird in a dunk contest do well. You didn't expect him to do as well as he did. Another O-lineman I really like is Ryan Baer. Out of East Lake North, a 2022 guy. He'd be in Tegra's class. Ohio State would not be ready to go on him right now, but he would compare very favorably to the guys they took last year. Jacob James, Trey LaRue, that family. Might have Ryan even ranked a little higher than those guys. Ryan would probably be a guy that would rank above Terrence Rankle and the Rodriguez kid in the 2021 class that Ohio State may fall back on. So Ryan's got Power 5 offers right now, and I think he's a guy that Ohio State is going to keep him warm, keep him on the line, and I would not be shocked to see Ryan Baer end up in the Ohio State 2022 class.
And one more name that we had talked about before we hit record, quarterback, and out of Northeast Ohio, it's Drew Eller, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's someone that I think Mark talked to a couple weeks ago, but it sounded like he was put together another pretty impressive performance in front of you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, he's 6'5", about 210. His dad played linebacker in college, so the kid has the bloodlines. I've seen him a lot. This was the first time for Mark and Mick to be able to see him in person, and they both came away very impressed. The thing with Drew is the ball it comes off his hand, and it's so effortless that you almost question his arm strength when he throws the ball because it doesn't look like he's putting everything he has into it. But that thing gets there in a hurry. When he needs to zip it, that ball gets thrown quickly. But he also has the touch. So he didn't start playing quarterback till freshman year and didn't start last year as a sophomore until close to the end of his sophomore year. And he put up some big games on Hudson, Lakewood St. Edward, teams that don't give up big games to quarterbacks. So Drew is a guy that's just starting to figure it out right now. 2 more years of high school to go, a 6'5" gunslinger that can move around in the pocket. Got a bright future. You know, he's on the Ohio State radar. And to get a scholarship offer as a QB at Ohio State, they can get the best of the best from all over the country. And Drew knows that. So he's going to have to get a lot better to get that OSU offer.
Well, Bill, I'm glad you got to go out and do what you love to do on Saturday, especially with Mark and Mick. That sounds like that was an awesome day. As a reminder, you can listen to Bill's other podcast, Gives in the Bank and Vegas Knows, on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Just search Buckeye Scoop to find all of our great shows. Make sure you subscribe there. And you can leave us a rating or review as well. That really helps us reach an even growing audience. So thank you guys for listening. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.